What is your perspective right now about this?
It can be anything you want it to be. It can be about girls, it can be about popularity, it can be about perfection, like this artistic, technical perfection. It can be about community building and teaching and helping someone grow. It can be about anything you want it to be. And it can be everything at the same time.
So how is that not the answer to life right there?
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the third episode of the ZOUKPOD. We're changing up the format. I'm Anthony.
I'm Ale.
And I'm Abe.
And we're AAA, and we got you covered.
Yay.
Call our number right here.
Call me, beat me if you want to reach me.
Dude,
Impossible.
chill with the beating, bro. Why? Jesus Christ.
Kim Possible,
dude.
bro. 90s,
How do you
man.
like to be
I know you're Generation
Like
X or
facts.
whatever. I know you're Generation X and you don't know what Kim Possible is. But that's gonna reference a lot of people. It's gonna hit home.
I actually do. I grew up watching Kim Possible.
Oh, really? Are you
Yeah.
serious? You grew up watching Kim
On the,
Possible?
on the Disney Channel,
Yeah.
bro. All right, bro. It's not. This podcast isn't about Kim Possible. But yeah, no. I mean, look. I asked Abe and Ale to be on because I thought it'd be more interesting to just have more people that can come on more consistently and really go deep on these topics of Zouk, right? And I feel like they have so much experience in this dance and have dedicated their entire life to it. And I thought they were perfect to give their perspectives, but also here's a lead perspective and here's a follow point of view. So, yeah.
And a U.S. perspective and a Brazilian perspective.
Yeah, so you're complete.
Yes, complete. We're the trifecta. Because I have all the cameras. And
They're
you guys.
mine.
With two more mine.
One was mine, and it's so beautiful.
All right, anyways. The first question that LA wanted to bring up was how do you approach dancing with beginners and why it's important to dance with a beginner?
Yeah, exactly. So I was talking about this with my students this last Sunday. So this is something important. Because, yeah, sometimes what happens is that when you dance with a beginner, start from this, and then I talk about how to dance exactly. When you are dancing with a beginner, you want to do a lot of movements. Talking about the follower perspective, the leaders want to do a lot of movements, and the follower gets tension about this, and then it's hard to dance with them. So I think when you are dancing with a beginner, it's important you just breathe and try to connect before, and is understanding their bodies, and then we can start to try explore more movements. So this is important. And as a leader, I think when the leader is a beginner, the follower have to be patient. They have to have patience to wait them just discover the movements and the ways, because it's very hard to be a leader, right?
It is very hard.
You have to think about a lot of things at the same time.
Yeah. I want to summarize that and put it in more general terms so people know what, you know? I think you need to have compassion. I think you need to have empathy. No one is perfect and everyone is growing, and that everyone is in their own individual growth, and that it takes different amount of time for different amount of people depending on what you have done previously in life. Obviously, everything that you've done in life is going to help you out in some way. So use your strong traits to get further ahead and progress, but that there are other traits that you will need to learn and that it will take time and that there is no rush.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I just think it is important we learn how to respect the other. I think this is the principal thing, right?
And have compassion. I think compassion, because I think there's a lot of people, especially once you get to intermediate, you don't have that compassion and empathy anymore for the beginners. I think you're like, oh, and rightfully so, right? I've worked very hard for my dance for X amount of time. And I have spent a lot of money on privates to get to this certain point. And so I want to dance with the better dancers. I want to have this experience. And there is nothing wrong with that. I understand. However, at some point in time, I guarantee every single person danced with someone who is at a higher level than them, right? And that person showed compassion and empathy towards them and helped their growth. Because that's how you grow, right? If you have a person at a different level, that person can then help grow that person exponentially. And get to that same level much faster. The other route is if you have two beginners, it then takes more time because you now have to find out who is committing the error, where the error is being committed, and how to fix it. Versus if you have one person who knows the error and how to fix it, then this person gets significantly better at a faster rate than the person who does not have that. And that's what actually happens in Brazil. There's a reason why follows and leads get here better so much quicker is because there's a lot of more compassion and empathy from higher level dancers that will dance with the whole world, that will dance with everyone.
I don't know, bro.
You don't know what?
I don't know, cause I'm in that boat right now.
Yeah.
I'm not so much of a beginner in U.S. standards, but here I'm totally beginner, right? Mm-hmm. You feel the compassion sometimes, and sometimes you don't. It's really dependent on the person. I would say that.
The compassion as far as sharing the dance with you, not during the dance. Them dancing with you is already showing compassion. For example, last weekend, did you dance with Issa or did you not dance with Issa?
Oh, we're gonna drop names?
Yeah, we're dropping names. That was her sharing compassion with you. This is a pro.
Yeah.
This is a pro dancing with you.
Yeah, I mean,
at a normal social. This is not even a congress.
Dude, I'm just incredibly charming, bro. Why wouldn't she say yes to me? love you, Issa. No, for sure. I really appreciated that, right?
Yeah.
I guess what I mean though is, I've definitely given my share of courtesy dances, right? Mm-hmm. And my follow hasn't gone the best of me, right? And you know, it's okay. You know, it's just part of the process. Mm-hmm. But I would say, you know, last week when I danced with this follow, and you know, she's great. Like, she's really pushing herself in Zouk. And asked her to dance, and you know, like that night, I was just trying to have fun, and she would force herself into counterbalance because I guess, I don't know what was going through her mind, but I guess she wanted more of a challenge or whatever. Mm-hmm. And she put herself in counterbalance. This wasn't the first time, right? Like, when we danced in the past, she might have put herself in other positions, mm-hmm. and be like, hey, I want to experience this, give me that. And I don't think that's compassionate, even though she said yes to the dance, right? And also, another part of it is that I'm a videographer, yeah. right? And so people see me in a different lens than just a normal person. Yeah. Not that I'm special, but that I can have something to offer you, mm-hmm. right? And so you might want to be nice to the videographer, mm-hmm. you know? And now she's blowing up my DMs, asking me for videos, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know how compassionate that is. I question that.
Okay,
But I also understand that you don't have to say yes to me.
100%.
And I don't ever expect that. I just, what I hope is that when you say yes to me, you give me
everything.
You. No, not even everything, but you give me you. You give me the real part of you. And I'll say this, I'm not perfect. Everything. I went to Narnia last night, and I just couldn't have a good time for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And I know I could not give my follow the best version of me. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna pause, I'm gonna go grab a sleep by myself. Like, I heard you say something last week, you were like, I was telling you how I was pushing myself on some socials to just keep dancing the entire night even though I wasn't enjoying it. And you're like, nah, bro, I don't believe that. Like, if you don't feel like it, go home, right? Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'm listening to Abe's advice and see where this takes me. I'm gonna grab a sleep by myself because I don't feel like dancing. Mm-hmm. And I know that even if I continue, I'm not going to give people the best version of me, and I can't create the best experience for us, right? Mm-hmm. So.
And that's actually you showing compassion for other people, because you're now being like, you know what, I'm not mentally there. I cannot offer, I'm going to call it everything, right? I can't offer everything to everybody. So you know what, I'm going to go figure myself out, chill, and do that, right? And I see that as compassionate in a different way, but it's still compassion.
Yeah.
And empathizing.
I totally agree, but I think like it's important to have this feeling and you understand what you are feeling, because sometimes like as a professional we have to deny dances because we are not feeling
Yeah.
dancing exactly that day or that social.
You have classes to promote, right?
Yeah.
In that way. You have workshops to promote.
Yes, but sometimes I'm just not feeling like I'm a professional, but I still have my moments, man, bad moments. And sometimes people want to dance with me and I deny, and I got a bad situation with this. So it's important that everybody knows and understand that we can have difficult days and hard days to try to dance with you, and sometimes just deny because we are not feeling so good at the same day, you know?
Even on that, actually, I would expand it even further. If I don't want to dance with you, I don't want to dance with you. Period.
Yes, but let's have some grace, is what I would say, right? Because you don't owe anyone shit.
Yes.
That's what I believe, right? Even when it
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
to
yeah,
dancing.
exactly. You don't.
However, I do think there's a grace to communicating that you don't want to dance right now.
How would you
And
communicate that?
I've had experiences where the follower might not want to dance right now. They're like, hey, look, like I'm not feeling well right now. Maybe later, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then later they come find me. Then that's like such a good feeling. But there's no expectation for them to find me. But when they do, it's like, oh, they remembered, they cared, right?
Yeah.
So that care is important. Okay, let's say the follower doesn't do that. Saying, hey, like, look, like, and still in that moment of talking to me, just being like, hey, look, I'm not feeling it. But perhaps next time. Rather than just a complete blow off. And I've had complete blow offs too, where it's just like, yeah, like, nah, you know? And it's just like, and I've had instructors do this that run the community that was back in Austin, and it always rubbed me the wrong way. And here's the thing, it's like, when they keep saying no to you, which is fine, I guess in this instance, I asked myself, is there anything wrong with me? Like, am I not good enough or yet to dance with this person? I mean, going back to that specific situation, I know it's not me anymore.
Yeah.
But it took a while.
Okay, no, I
But it took a
agree.
while.
And a lot of organizers need to hear this, is like, you're an organizer, you know? Your job is to promote the community. Your job is to dance with everybody and make them feel welcome. If you're not doing that, then what are you doing?
I think even the teachers.
The teachers and the community organizers, 100%.
Yes,
If you're an
of
instructor,
course.
if you're an instructor, I feel like you have a duty to make everyone feel welcomed
Exactly.
and make them feel like they are a part of this community. And there's no better way than dancing with people. If they are a professional, they might, and let's say I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they might be tired. Yeah, think about it. Okay, let's put it into a professional aspect, okay? Let's say you're at a Congress. You teach your 1 hour class, or maybe you have 2 hours of class. All of a sudden you're booked for privates for like 12 hours. So maybe you're teaching from like, let's say 8 to 9 is your 1 hour class at the Congress, right? From like 9 probably to midnight, you're probably teaching classes. You've been dancing now for like over like 12 hours, and now you're at a party pretty dead and tired. So like and then you have to do this on a weekly basis, especially for these traveling artists, right? So let's show some compassion and empathy for them. So I completely understand when they just want to chill and not dance, because they've been working the whole day, and our body can only take so much to its limitations, So I understand that part. However, if that is the case, you should leave the party. You shouldn't be there. I don't think they should be there.
Okay.
If they cannot, and from an organizer perspective, because I'm an organizer,
Okay.
I'm everything, right?
Yeah.
From an organizer perspective, have a contract with them. Be like, okay, you're obligated to be at the party for an hour, hour and a half. After that, you're free to do what you want, because you also have to show empathy for the instructors. Because yes, you hired them to come to your event, but they're not your slave. You know what I mean? And so have them in a contract, hour, hour and a half dancing with the people. After that, if they can leave,
Yeah. And I also realize that, like, if you're a professional, you're working, right?
Yeah, you're
like
working.
like any other job.
Exactly.
You gotta work your job, right?
Exactly. So if you're at the dance floor, then you're working.
Yep. But, and I'm not, this is getting a little bit more to the professional organizer conversation. Let's get back more to the beginner, like dancing with beginners. I'll say this, bro. I saw you at Narnia dancing with this older woman.
Yeah.
Like a
Grandma?
Like,
She's a grandma.
Grandma? Bro.
Brazilian?
Yeah, she's Brazilian
Yeah, I know
grandma.
her.
She has
Bro,
Amazing.
it brought me so much joy seeing you guys dance. Like incredible. I was like, oh my, like that's beautiful. And I feel kind of emotional right now because it's like, and everyone comes there just to dance, to have fun, you know? And those people, you know, like, they're usually not asking, or they're not asked to dance a lot. Mm-hmm. And for me, like, this is what kind of opened up my heart a little bit to then make an effort to dance with everyone, because they have so much to give too, but they might not always have the opportunity to do it, right? Yeah. And they might have physical limits. Yeah. And they can't like do all the crazy things, right? And be that like amazing follow that you want to dance with, but they're still a human being.
Exactly. And it's not, and for those types of dances, I could respond to this because it just happened yesterday, right?
Yeah.
That was so beautiful because even though I wasn't doing anything crazy, we were literally doing the most simple shit, but the smile on her face made me smile, you know?
Dude, you have like the biggest, like, you guys have the biggest, like, chuckle. I was like, dude, like,
yeah.
you guys are just doing basic, you're just laughing your ass off. Like, what the heck?
It was such an amazing, beautiful moment. And that's what I mean. And that's what I mean, like, have compassion and empathy for these people. And she just wants to have fun, right?
Yep.
And I'm just there to have fun. And why can't we just have fun together doing nonsense stuff, right? It's like bringing both, even though we're both older, right? We're bringing in our inner child. Exactly. And like, you know, and like how many people lose track of that in their life because they take life so seriously and stuff. It's like.
And this is how Zouk changed your life.
Yeah, exactly.
But not everyone. I'd say that I really believe we're not in, this isn't the majority train of thought, to be honest. Or the majority, like, thing that people believe within our community. I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't see it, you know?
What do you think they believe? What do you see?
A lot of, like, showing off. A lot of, like, like showing off in appearances and faces. Like showing face. And that's more there than the emphasis on just the simplicity of sharing a moment of connectedness with someone, especially with someone like a grandma, right? It's cool if you can do it with the pretty girl. All right, cool, you know, like that's nice. But no, like to anyone, have your heart that open, and that's still a work in progress for me. But that's kind of something I've been really. I'll be honest, like the nights that I have not that great of a night, it's because there's a part of me that's judging something, whether I'm judging myself, judging other people, judging the social, and it's when I have that I come in with more of an open mind, and literally like, if I want to have a good night, what's worked for me consistently is like, when I'm done dancing with someone, the first person I see that's standing by themselves, I go ask to dance. Like, don't even think about like, oh, like, I want to dance with that fall, I want to wait, or like, oh, she's really pretty, I want to like ask for her number. Like, no, it's just like, first person that's alone, they deserve to experience this with me.
Okay, I have a question. Why you start to dance?
My first dance was bachata. Why I started bachata?
Yeah.
Yeah, girls.
Okay.
I wanted to meet girls.
This is the question, exactly. So this is the thing. Most of the guys start to dance to be close from girls.
100%.
Yeah.
So
I completely agree.
I still see this in the dance floor, exactly the way you are talking about. Like, oh, it's a pretty girl, so I want to dance with her. Oh, it's a professional, I want to dance with her. And the other girls.
There's something that you get out of it. There's something that you want out of it. And we all have things that we want out of things in life, right?
Yeah, but I think when you start to really, really, really dance for a long time, you understand that it's not about this, right?
Yeah.
What is your perspective right now about this?
It can be anything you want it to be. It can be about girls, it can be about popularity, it can be about perfection, like this artistic technical perfection. It can be about community building and teaching and helping someone grow. It can be about anything you want it to be. And it can be everything at the same time.
So how is that not the answer to life right there?
We were having a conversation earlier, and the topic was on Zouk is the key to life, and I was like, I don't think it's the key to life, but it's pretty freaking amazing. But Abe and LA are pretty...
There's so many. You just described all the different elements that there is in Zouk and how that brings joy and happiness and how you grow personally through all those different challenges throughout time. And then not only that, but then you're exposed to different cultures, different ideas, different ideologies. And how is that not the most beautiful thing ever? Because the thing that's the most wrong with the world is actually understanding. If you understood why this person had to rob or kill to achieve this, if you understood their backstory, that it was to feed their family, to feed their children, to feed that. I'm not saying that stealing and killing are good, but if you could understand their story, I bet you would be more willing to help that person and be like, you know what, I got you. And just from that simple understanding, we can then show compassion, and that's not different from Zouk.
Yeah, you can have that experience in Zouk. And I'm super grateful that I'm able to have that experience in Zouk. Not all the time, but I'm able to have that. But this isn't a commonality that I ever really talk about with other people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not this isn't something that's shared a lot of the time. You know, this idea.
I agree, because it's not about sharing. It's about living. It's like I could tell you the secret to life, how to be happy, right? Or whatever, or to make money. I could tell you the secret to make money. But just because you know it doesn't mean that you
So I bring this up
experience
because it's like a lot of people teach connection in Zouk. Man, when you meet them, I don't know, like, it's the most incongruent thing ever. You know what I mean?
Is it most what?
Incongruent.
They're lying. They do one thing, they say one thing, but then they actually do another thing, right?
So,
Explain to me.
They're all huggy-duggy, or like, oh yeah, Zouk is amazing, Zouk is life, let's all get together.
It's all about hugs and connection, and then you meet them and it's just like,
and
man,
they're
you're
like, fuck you,
you're
like,
a
get out of
douche.
my face. Like, oh, if you're not this high-level dancer, like, don't talk to me. Like, I'm gonna go stand in the corner.
that experience and experiencing over and over again is what makes me think that the people that really focus on the compassion are actually few. You know, it's because people might say one thing. It's very rare actually to meet someone that's like, man, that has just such an open and compassionate heart.
Yeah.
When it comes to dancing, in Zouk and with people.
Okay, I understand that point. But I'm actually really grateful for these people, because they're actually going through the process of understanding. Because you don't know, you can't be a good person unless you know what it's like to be a shitty person. Does that make sense to you?
That's true.
So they're on the journey and they're learning, and I think at the end of the day they will get there.
Or not.
Or not.
It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible that they don't.
Yeah.
But
There is people that doesn't learn.
there is people that don't learn.
No.
But
I think more than often. I think you're giving them too much credit. I think more than often they won't. But it's okay. It's not none of my business. It's just that, okay, at least now I know the person I don't want to be. And to say that that I'm not like them at all is actually not true.
Exactly, and you can learn from other people's mistakes.
Because I can get pretty judgmental as well, you know? And so it's like really just a reminder to watch myself as well.
Yeah, exactly.
To be like, oh yeah, I can act in certain ways kind of like that sometimes when I'm like not feeling it, or like I'm just feeling really self-absorbed that day. I'm just like, you know, and going back to, you know, the topic you want to talk about, it's like, yeah, it's incredibly important to dance with beginners because it's also a practice, like you said, of a compassion, and to give someone this experience that Zouk has given you, this is an opportunity to give to someone else.
No, fuck that. It's
Oh, you
not
don't
about
believe
giving. It's not about giving it to someone else.
No, what was it?
It's about you enjoying that moment, making sure that you can enjoy every moment with everyone. To humble yourself. Who the fuck am I to?
It's both together.
Who am I to be like, you're gonna have the best dance with me, or I'm gonna give you enough? Fuck
no.
that. It should be about me. It should be about me being happy with myself that I can enjoy this ride with anyone.
Okay, I think this is a great idea, but I don't think it's exactly the way that happens. I think if you think like I can share some of my feelings or some of the good that I have to others, I think this is something more real than I have so much joy that I can share. Because I don't have so much joy all the moments, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't have.
Yeah.
And I don't have nothing to share, but I want to give my best to this person that is dancing with me right now. So I will give my best.
Okay.
Even
So
that I'm not feeling so best.
specific
So good.
situation for me, right? I've been at a party and I'm feeling super blessed, super high, super like positive energy, right?
Yeah.
And then I dance with a follow that's super conniving and like energy draining and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, so I enjoy my dance, even though I could see them rolling their eyes, looking at their next person they want to dance with, you know what I mean? And I'm like, cool, you do you, boo. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, and then like,
Yeah.
so that dance I enjoyed. I don't care if that person enjoyed or didn't enjoy, you know what I mean? And that's completely on me. My enjoyment, I make that.
1000%.
I make
Whether
that.
you have fun or not is a choice.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard, you know, to really choose to have a good time because for some reason you're not feeling it.
Yeah.
Dude, you were saying that like part of the reason why you also dance with everyone is that you don't ever know if that dance is what gets them into Zouk.
Yeah.
That's what
100%.
I mean when I say you're giving that experience. You're not trying to be. You're not, dude. You're just dancing. You're not fucking feeding people in Africa, right? Like you're not that. You're not like freaking Saint Francis or whatever, living with the poor and stuff.
Same.
So I'm not saying that we're doing any level of like of selflessness by dancing with a beginner, but it's like you had this amazing experience with dance, and you hope that they can experience that with you too.
Yeah, I could only hope. And I could share.
100%.
And I could share what I know and what I have, right? That's the best that I could do. And if we have everybody sharing what they love and have, that's how we grow it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then everyone will have their own interpretations. Yeah, you'll have the assholes, you have the people that are really kind, you have the people that are very compassionate, but through that, everyone is in their own journey.
Yeah, exactly.
That's freaking sick.
Any final thoughts or takes on this topic, Ella?
I think just try to share your best with everybody that you are dancing. Just try to always dance with new people, because a lot of new people is in the corner waiting someone to ask.
Yeah, that's really
So,
sad. All the
yes.
people in the corner. My response would be, if you're a follow or a lead, go ask. I think a lot of follows in the US wait to go get asked versus follows here in Brazil. They'll go ask.
Yes.
They don't give a fuck. They're like, if I don't ask, I'm not getting a
We
dance.
really
Yeah.
don't care.
And then sometimes I see foreigners come to Brazil, to Sao Paulo, and they don't ask. And then so they don't, you know, maybe they don't get to dance. And I'm like, fuck, that sucks. And it's just because of a cultural difference, you know?
Speaking about cultural differences, what do you think are the biggest differences in how people dance Zouk in Brazil versus in the U.S. or in Europe?
Oh, man. It's different because of the people that are pioneering everything, right? And by pioneering, I mean, did they learn secondhand? Are they the creator of a different style that, you know, that went? And, you know, it's teaching that. So then you have different ways of dancing Zouk throughout the world because of that. For example, like Alexis de Carvalho, right? He went and moved to France. So he has his whole methodology and his students, group of core students in France, you know? And they have blown up and gotten this education. And that is the style that is being spread out throughout France and the countries neighboring around it, right? Versus the US, a majority of the people teaching over there are all second or third hand that have probably been in Brazil or going to congresses trying to piece together. Versus in the US, we have people going to congresses and learning like that. Does that make sense? And so they're trying to piece together all these different styles because they hire everyone and the different techniques and stuff like that. And so they're getting a muddled version of a style. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And then
1,000%.
and they're
Yep.
trying to spread it like this. However, it's not congruent. It doesn't make sense. So then essentially it gets nowhere, right? Versus Brazil, you have Renata Peçanha School in Rio, right? And it's the biggest school in Rio, and all the students go through there. Versus Sao Paulo, they have a lot of people, a lot of street dancers who are just very creative and very innovative. And so they tend to get information and try to innovate on top of that and really personalize themselves, right? That's how I see it going out throughout the world. How it'll continue to be distributed will be based on that.
What is your perspective as someone who lives there?
Yeah, so I think with people that I danced before, like in a few events that I went, I feel that the dancers normally miss a lot of the structure of the basics.
Which one? Like
Which
American
events?
European dancers?
I'm talking about all the gringos.
All the gringos,
All the
including
gringos.
Europeans.
Okay.
They're not gringos.
They're not
But
gringos.
you're talking about Europeans as well, or just Americans?
She doesn't know the actual definition of a gringo. So unless we want to define that, all people from outside of
Okay.
Brazil.
Yeah, it's gringo.
No.
Yeah. No?
No.
Gringo literally means. Okay, so
Okay.
the United States was taking land from Mexico,
Mhm.
and then the Mexico military saw the green uniform on the Americans,
this is
and they
why.
were like, green, go. And so that's why the term was coined gringo, because you had this Mexican forces telling Americans to get the fuck out.
Terrible, but
And then so technically the only gringos are Americans.
okay, yeah,
But
makes
then that got coined to internationally, and so now every foreigner
Yes.
is a gringo now.
Yeah, exactly. For us.
Yeah, but
But-
technically it's only Americans.
Okay, I'm talking about
So they don't-
Americans, Europeans.
So foreigners, the most popular,
foreigners, yes.
foreigners, talking about foreigners.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I feel that I missed a lot of the understanding about basic steps and how to step exactly. And I feel that they normally learn how to connect and do head movements, but exactly just doing the movements without understand exactly the technique
base.
or the base of the movement.
And you see this from the professionals, the professionals that are foreigners.
Not exactly the professional. I feel this from a few professionals, but not most. I cannot
Okay.
say that is the most people. want.
But most people coming to Brazil, I would say, have an interest in teaching or, some public role. So I would
Okay.
say a lot of the people that probably come here are probably teaching in their countries. So they're probably technically professionals, maybe not to your standard. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, yeah. So maybe the professionals think
They
about
suck.
this. Yeah, think about this. But
Learn
yeah,
your
they,
shit.
they come here to learn. They are learning. I think this is
Yeah,
important.
exactly.
So
Not only that, but they're also learning your culture, right?
yes, of course, and this is very important. And I think here in Brazil, well, Zouk is Brazilian, so we have Zouk in our blood. Is something interesting because
That's okay. Keep going.
I teach a lot of beginners here in Brazil, and I feel that the Brazilians have more connection, and they have more, like, their bodies are more relaxed, so I think it's easier to learn Zouk.
I disagree. I also have Brazilian students, and they have to learn just like everyone else. And sometimes and the reason I could understand why you feel that way is because they dance other dances. So, correct me if I'm wrong,
Normally
but
forró. Most of people dance
forró, sertanejo, samba, whatever, right? They dance other dances, and because they learned body movements already, they are now more in tune with their body, so it's easier for them to accept another dance. However, if we were to get a Brazilian that doesn't dance other dances, I guarantee you it would be the same as anywhere else in the world.
Interesting.
However, with that being said, you do have a better education and more people dancing here with a higher level. So that's why they excel and grow at a much at a more exponential rate than people across seas, right? Across other countries, because obviously we have more access to it here.
Yes, for sure. It's true. And what do you think about it, Anthony?
Oh man, I agree with him. Like, if you have a dancing background here, you're gonna have a leg up in Zouk. But if you don't have any dancing background, you feel the same like anyone else in the world, to be honest. But...
And do you feel that? Do you feel that with the dancers here?
Yeah. But what she says about the attributes of Brazilian culture infused in the dance, oh, that's 100% there. And that's not there in the US. So more connection. But like, let's really define connection, because we all connect, right?
Yeah, okay.
Like, doesn't matter where you're from, it's just a different way of connecting, right? There's a physicality in Brazil that's like really like nowhere else, right?
Yeah.
And even if you're a beginner, you will feel that physicality. Like close embrace. Like in the US, close embrace is this big deal. Like, oh, you gotta take close embrace classes, you gotta like learn the technique. No, here it's just...
Doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. Why would you take a close embrace class? Everyone does it all the time. Every time you meet someone, you kiss them hello and you kiss them goodbye, And get...
Like physical touch.
Yeah. Just like that, right? And so in that way, it feels more welcoming, warm, and more personality and expression. I would say even from professional artists from the US, I would say sometimes I feel like there's a wall up. Even though they're technically perfect and look really good, there's not that energy. There's not that personality. Not everyone, but I have experienced that sometimes,
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think this is just new to American culture. I could speak to that, right, because I'm American. That they're just not used to it. And I think that's something they're seeking out, but that they're learning. And I do think it's something that they have to learn because they haven't been exposed to it in their life.
100%.
If you haven't been hugged and kissed as a child, I lived in Japan as well, where like you literally bow to, to your elders and stuff like that. Like contact is just non-existent.
Oh, same here. Same in Vietnamese culture,
So it's just not, it's not an issue. So then to go from that to actually even touching a person or hugging them, like this is a big deal. Like even in like Muslim countries, right? Like if we were to bring it to them, it'd be a complete culture shock. So it's something that they have to learn and accept. And it's not easy.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? You're still learning, and it is foreign, right? And this is why I think Gui Prada is awesome, because how he taught close embrace is with side connection. So you have it like right here, right? So you connect to the follow like this, and here people connect squared.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in fact, in the class that I took from Guy, and it was like 14 hours, and I took like another 14 hours a year later, this was actually looked down upon. Because of the
So it was westernized. He changed it.
I don't know if he changed it. But that's how he taught it. I come here. I took from Luan and Adriana, and they're like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Like how? Like that's that. We need you to get closer. And also that the feedback I got so close embrace with side connection
Yeah.
versus close embrace, full squared on, there was a difference. People felt it. And if anything, it was preferred that it was more squared on, even from the gringos. Now, not everyone, right? I'm sure there's people that are like, hey, I prefer this, you know, because the reason why Guy taught that way is because in case your crotch would touch the follow, you would prevent it by side connection.
Okay.
Which here, I don't think people really care.
It's not that we don't care, but I think we are used to. So
Okay.
it's not something.
It's just normal.
Yeah, it's normal. It's not something that sexual or something.
Yeah.
Why?
It's just a body part, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes,
if you're
it's-
that close, it's just gonna, it's gonna connect some way.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be a big deal.
Yeah.
And in the U.S., it's a freaking big deal. It's like, oh my God, like, you know, his crotch touched me. You know, it doesn't mean anything here. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just the way people perceive and take things, I guess.
Yeah.
Is probably the biggest thing. It just shows the different mentalities of these countries, right? Brazil and the U.S. to be specific, because those are the two prominent ones that we come from, right?
Yep.
And that we now live in. And somebody that's actually been here the entire time and it's normal.
So what I was trying to say was that I think what Guy's doing is amazing because he's bridging that gap, right? Where something that is getting Americans closer to that feeling of connection that you might experience here in Brazil, but still digestible for them, right? I can't imagine Luan Adriana teaching that workshop in the U.S.
Do you think it takes away from your culture? From it being, I think if it's transformed in any way, it takes away from the culture, and then you're then selling Brazilian Zouk without actually having the Brazilian in it.
Well, there's a lot of that already that exists. So what are you gonna do
Yeah.
about it?
Like what?
What?
What's a lot of that already exists?
Ah, like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, okay, all right. I don't live in anymore, so there's a studio in. I'm gonna bleep that so they don't know where it's from. There's a studio in X, right? If you work at that studio, you teach salsa, bachata, and zouk.
Uh-huh.
So even if you've never danced zouk in your entire life, within like a month of training, you're already teaching the basics of zouk, and it is off. No one gets good from that studio, and it is, if anything, it creates more confusion than anything. And I come from that studio. That's where I started.
Damn.
And it's already happening. That's what I mean.
Okay, and I'm grateful for that.
100%.
actually. I'm very grateful because if it wasn't for that studio, you wouldn't be here now.
Exactly.
So any teaching of Zouk and it's trying to interpretation, like trying to give its interpretation on Zouk, people will eventually find out what is the truth if they end up liking it and saying this is for me. And I think that is very easy to find, that is not very difficult.
Yeah.
To find credible sources. And for your specific answer was to move to Brazil and take classes from instructors here. That was your answer to that. But there are traveling artists that are credible, that you can learn this culture from, and those people that you've said from that city are still important because they'll keep bringing in people and sharing this dance, and people will find out the truth, and it'll be an ongoing pattern. You know what I mean? They'll come in, they'll leave. They'll come in and they'll leave. And we should be grateful for those people as well. But where did the conversation start from?
I think we are talking about people are teaching Zouk, but not
So-
exactly Brazilian Zouk.
So
The culture's being, yeah.
So I think you're right that they do serve a purpose, but like going back to what you originally said, it's already being morphed and kind of transmuted into something that comes from Brazil, but then feels kind of different now. And that's already happening. It's kind of my point. But yeah, no, for sure. I think everyone plays a role here. And the more that we can all make an effort, because even though they're salsa and bachata dancers teaching Zouk, I mean, look, they're making an effort. And also they're being forced to teach it. So, I mean, I can't blame them. But yeah, it's like, it's already happening. And I think that's good. because that means it's growing.
Yeah, exactly, it's growing. So I think it will take some time to really split the Brazilian Zouk, you know, about
Yeah,
talking about our culture.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why if people actually are credible and have taken the classes, it's like, why not spread the joy and love that you have found, right? Why not take, I know it's an extra responsibility and this might be your escape, but share this with the world. Share your experience. Share what what you've learned, the little that you've learned, right? Or what you do know.
So, one last question, and it has to go to this idea, right? Because you talk about credibility. Someone who loves Zouk, who has had that mixture experience, quote unquote, of different multiple teachings by going to a bunch of festivals, but maybe doesn't quite have that foundation that you guys are talking about. Where can they go to find that and learn?
Here.
There's a lot of instructors here. Like specifically, what would be your and we'll get into this in the next episode. We'll go really deep, but just to have to give the audience something to chew on. Yeah, like where can they go? Where would you recommend? What's proven and what's credible?
I think I think I cannot just choose someone to speak about, because here in Brazil we have a lot of different styles and different techniques.
Yeah.
So there is nothing perfect that I can just say do this and this will be perfect.
Yeah.
But here we have the most really credible professionals. So we are,
Yeah.
can.
Easily go to the Brazilian Zouk Dance Council and find out, and you'll find a list of instructors there, and you will also find a group of judges. Most of the judges are instructors. See the Jack and Jills, see who you like, see who you visually enjoy, and I would say most of them, all of them actually, would be credible.
And I think and we've had this conversation. I think what makes that different than going to just any popular instructor is that they have a curriculum and they had to go through a course or have someone freaking give them that certification to be like, hey, you know Brazilian Zouk, right? Alex has Mac. You have to be certified to be a Mac instructor, for example.
So you're talking about outside from Brazil, right?
No, I'm talking even in Brazil.
No, in Brazil we don't use this.
Well, I mean, in terms, because I've taken privates at festivals in Brazil, and from just the superstars, I didn't get much out of it. But that's another conversation for another day. Versus someone who has a curriculum that knows that has something that they can see, they use to reference, and then use that, and then also their own experience to then help me. It's way more valuable, in my opinion, than just someone that dances nice and everyone wants to take privates from, but they don't have a curriculum.
Yeah, I think it's important you have a curriculum and you have a lot of expertise and experience in Zouk scene. So I think this is the important thing, not exactly about courses. We can talk about this.
Okay. in the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I agree actually. Have somebody who knows their shit, that has their plan, and can get you to A to Z, and have them explain how they're going to do that, and that they make sure that they meet your standards, right? Of, hey, I want this. This is what we're going to do. Here's the program.
Yeah.
And you're good. I think a lot of people get eliminated like that. A lot of people.
Yeah, I know. And we talked about this, right? We had our dear friend, we're not going to name her name, but maybe we'll have her on the podcast one day. That'd be so cool. I love you. You know who I'm talking about.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Okay. She was here 2 months ago. But she took from a crap ton of instructors thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars within the first 4 months of her Brazilian Zouk journey.
Oh, yeah.
And she comes here.
Yeah, and then...
And it's everywhere. It's messy. She doesn't have any of the foundations down. Goes trains with you. By the time she left, I was like, wow, huge improvement. And she did not spend thousands of dollars on you, right? And that's what I mean. Pedagogy in Zouk matters. You can't
Yes,
just learn
of
from you can't just
course.
learn from anyone.
No.
Even if
Totally
they're
agree.
like a superstar name. And she trained with the superstars,
I think it's
you know?
different things. Like you can be a great dancer, but not exactly a great teacher. So
And that's the difference too. We should talk about that. Being a good instructor versus being a great teacher. And that's
teacher, yes.
completely different.
All right,
Holy
well
shit.
then I think we should put a bookmark here. We're gonna save this topic for the next episode, but thank you so much for watching. Any final words?
Do you have any final words? No? That's it.
How can they
So-
find you on social media?
Okay, I think is I don't remember.
We'll put it
exactly.
right here. We'll put it right
Yeah.
here. It's right here. It's
I
right
think
here.
is Ale Tavares doc des. Yeah.
Instagram at Abe Zouk, Instagram at iZouk, most likely iZouk. And then, yeah, just go click the links because it's like really hard to get a hold of me. I have everything down. Just click the links. You're good.
Yeah, and if you want to see more of this, please subscribe, follow us on Bankai Zouk on YouTube, on Instagram. And yeah, if you have any questions that you want to be discussed or have these two amazing people shed light on, please put your comment down below and we might address it in the next episode. So, with that being said, thank you so much for watching.
It's a movie.
Woohoo!
See you later.